And so, with my next and last video, I call it the next one, obviously, but it is really the last one, and it is also the next one, as everything is the next and then the last, and so on and so beyond and beforth, if that's a new word, beforth. Alright, where was I? Ah, yes. So, back to what I was saying about nouns. What I in the first video, that's the first video that was done. Look, I actually exist in body as well as head. And so, the first video that was done was in fact about a new language stasis. And this stasis could be very much involved in something or other. And I remember what it was, because it's basically that we need to repeat or remove the repetition of one or the other of nouns. Now, if we could create a noun that sets victory conditions, such as veto. Well, what if somebody vetoes something? Whoop, whoop. Yes, I have a spider mind. What if somebody vetoes something? And so there are certain victory conditions embedded into language, of course. We all know this by now. I would like to say that when I do release this spiritual book on the internet, that there may be phrases that can be scraped from it. Saying that, I wonder, based on the idea of there being modules relating to speech and the way that we talk, can modules be scraped up and reinstituted or mashed together? A mishmash of modules. I would like there to be congruence between modules for the new year, modules of learning, but I would also like in the future there to be congruence between stasis. There are transverse effects, that is, gliding between the barriers and the systems that make up those barriers, and then there are congruent effects. So we need congruence and transversability, if that is a word. We need to find a location in our mind that is congruent to the ability to move from point A to point B. A congruence from point A to point B that takes on a shape and a form of language and image, and celebrates, that is, if celebrate is the only word, or exemplifies, in the positive aspect of the word exemplifies, the division between different classes that should be intact. So we have three words: intactness, congruence, and transversant. So we need language to remain intact so that it can apply to different systems, so it is congruent from point A to point B, using the select images and technology that's afforded to us in the future, in using stasis principles and technological principles combined. If technology itself is a forward-thinking word, then it is itself congruent, tangible, as another one, intact, and it has a transversant effect, is that, I suppose, visualizing it, you could move from point A to point B in two different ways or three different ways. These are different versions of congruence and intactness. So if the mind has different frames of reference all combined into one unit, then rationality will improve. I say rationality will improve. Rationality will improve. The word that is currently in my mind for this new year is mizoku. I think that's family in Japanese. So mitsoku or mizoku. I like the idea of there being intactness and tangibility to families, and with that we need intact language systems that can take us using module transportation from point A to point B. So you've got point A, point B, in between you have a module with intact imagination. That is, imagination needs to be intact. As Einstein is quoted as saying, logic can get you from point A to point B, but imagination can take you anywhere. So a module from point A to point B is in the middle of point A and point B, and it is intact, it is congruent, and it is transversant as well. So it is the imagination storing multiple properties at once in the form of a module, which freezes the frame of reference and allows us to circulate language more prosperously between classes and families, and celebrating or establishing, exemplifying the good qualities and the positive harmony between people and nations. Thank you.